Hi, this is Faxi Nadu again. We're back to a little bit of seeing what I'm doing. Last time that we did a video, I was talking a little bit about my workflow with creating psytrance music. This time I want to show you a little bit sound design using modular systems. You could use these methods to create either ambient music or drone music, soundscape music, or to record sounds and use them in psytrance creations. It's really, again, basic things. It might look complicated, but once I show you what is done here, you will see for yourself that it's not really complicated. We're not going to be using low level. We're not going to be creating synths, VSTs and algorithms and sick stuff like that, which is really cool by itself. But we're going to be using what is, I guess it's called mid-level or high-level modules, which is already implemented filters, oscillators, mixers, whatever. The systems that we're going to be using are the Creamer modular system as well as the Nord modular system. The Creamer modular sits on the Scope DSP platform, which is a PCI card with DSP chips on it. And the modular system is basically, the Nord modular system is basically the same thing, except that it is external. The DSP sits inside its own metal box with knobs and everything like that. I think both systems are really cool. Each one of them has its own unique character, sound, modules, different implementation, but basically it's the same idea and the same usage. They get a little bit of different results, and we're going to be seeing how we can use both of them to get some pretty cool things going. So, what I have here, I've set up really simple things that I want to be able to show you using just one screen without scrolling up, down, left and right. 8 channels overall. I can go on and on and on, but I want to streamline it a little bit, so I'm going to show you just what channels I have here. The first channel is a noise generator, and it's going to be feeding actually 3 separate channels. The first channel is the noise generator. You can follow the cables. It's going into a 24 dB bandpass filter. This is a resonating filter, which is designated by the R sign. This means that on high resonance, the filter itself starts to oscillate by itself, and it is still responding to the noise generator, so you're going to have a really kind of whistling sort of noise sound. The second channel and the third channel are respectively this noise plus first bandpass filter going to this second channel and again to this third channel. The second channel is a little bit higher on the cutoff, and the third channel is a little bit lower. The third channel has a little bit lower type of resonance, so it's a little bit less whistling and a little bit more of a low end kind of sound. So we have, if we want to hear just these 3 sounds, what we're going to have before we hear them, we're going to have them. I want to show you that they're going into a reverb plugin and a compressor plugin. Both of these come from the Scope DSP platform. To me, they are really nice, really nice reverb and compressor. Everything on this platform to me is really great. And so here we go. This is the first channel. We can hear it. Okay, this is the second channel. And this is the third channel. Deeper sort of sound. Okay, so we've looked at, you might say, okay, why do I need this, right? You can make really cool intros with this. You can take your time, you can start a recording, you can put a beat on, and you can little by little insert these channels during time, one after the other, and you get a really nice kind of sort of modulated signal changing, interweaving between these noises. To my ears, it's a really nice sound. The fourth channel we got here is just an example of how to get sequenced sound without using an external sequencer. Let's say you're going to a live show and you want to use just the modular system. You don't want to start opening Logic, Cubase, Fruity Loops, Ableton, whatever. You want to just use this system. So you can still get sequenced sound. We have here a MIDI clock module. I've set it to 100 BPM. Clock divider dividing it to steps of 16th notes, and going into this module, which is basically an 8-channel sequencer. I just wanted to show you what it does, so I've just connected one channel. I've got one hit going on the first beat, and then on the ninth beat, you can see it pretty much with your eyes, going into a perk oscillator, which is an oscillator doing sort of a bass drum kind of sound, into a delay module. Again, this delay is taking its timing from the MIDI clock, but instead of dividing it into 16th notes, it's dividing it into 1/4 notes, and outwards into a bandpass filter, which is pretty much set to the middle with a high resonance. So you will not be hearing, you won't be hearing a bass sound. You will be hearing a sort of what do you call it? I don't know. Crystal kind of half bell, half hit, half drum. Unique, I guess. And then we have the fifth channel, which is one of the staples of modular synthesis kind of sound. It's I've taken a constant frequency module. I don't want to use MIDI. I wanted to show you how you can. This is basically the ABC of noodle patches that run themselves. So I've taken, A440 is basically the low A note divided by 2. You get 220, which is an octave lower. Divide that by 2 again, you get 110. So this is a really, really low 110 hertz A note. And this goes into the oscillator. But before it gets modulated by a random signal generator, this generates a sort of a fluctuation, random fluctuation, into this basic 110 hertz constant frequency. This fluctuation's rate of change is controlled again by the MIDI clock, and we have it here set to one half step of 100 BPM. So before I let you hear it, one last thing. This is a little cool synthesis trick. Some of you might know it, some might not. The random signal generator generates steps, okay? If you know steps are actually pulses. They are one time like this, one time like this, one time like this. So the change between the steps can be really harsh sometimes because it will not be smooth between them. There will not be any interpolation between one step. If a value is now, let's say 6, and it randomizes it, the next value, let's say 3, so it will jump from 6 to 3. This can kind of, sometimes, especially if you're modulating filters with high resonance, can produce sort of a snap sound while it's changing between the steps. So a little trick is to, before connecting the random signal generator to the oscillator or to the filter, you can take a really kind of mellow low-pass filter. This is a 6 dB low-pass filter. Close it just enough till you hear it, and it turns the square into a smooth kind of interval. It smooths it out. So let's say you had that 6 and 3. Instead of going 6 to 3, it will go 6, 5, 4, 3 really fast. And then that harshness will go away, and you'll get a really kind of smooth interval, kind of theremin-ish type of sound. So this will be where were we? This will be the fifth channel. And again, just going back, constant frequency modulated by the random signal generator that is being smoothed by the filter, and going into a saw oscillator, and then to a 24 dB bandpass filter. Again, same type of module from the other sounds, kind of high resonance. I kind of set it up like I want, and I'm letting that sine LFO from before, which is really, really on the lowest possible in this modular, which is 0.01 hertz. It's a really, really slow movement. I think it's like 20, 30 something seconds. It doesn't really matter, by ear. And it is kind of moving the filter, and it will sound like this. Okay, so these are the first 5 sounds. The 6th sound that we have coming here is now, let's go all the way to this side of the screen. This is the Nord Modular. Now what I've taken is, I've done 2 things. First of all, I've taken a factory preset, which is it's called just the bells patch. It comes with the Nord Modular. It's a really nice sounding bell patch. I've kind of messed up the buttons a little bit. Right now it sounds like just a harsh kind of FM type of bell hit. And then what I've done is I've disconnected the left. I don't want it stereo, you know. I'm just using one output that is going inside here, and it is going all the way here, and that's it. I can play it with the keyboard floater, and I have this sound. Now, the second sound, I said I disconnected the stereo, and I've just built a really simple thing. I've taken a filter, a classic low-pass filter in the Nord Modular, put it on the highest possible resonance setting in order to allow the filter to oscillate by itself. And again, this is pretty much, if you look here, pretty much the same idea as done here with the oscillator, but without using an oscillator, just letting a filter self-oscillate. And I have an LFO going pretty slowly, 0.16 Hertz, and moving this filter. And this channel will sound like this. And if I want to, I can modulate the rate of this oscillator with an oscillator, sorry, of this LFO with an oscillator coming from the bell sound, just for a good laugh, you know. And you'll hear more variation. The last channel that I have here is, if you look at my DX200 here. It's a machine from Yamaha. It's an FM synth. It can do many cool things, but the usage that we're going to have here is just as a MIDI keyboard. I've connected it to an old copy of Native Instruments battery, and you know, like battery 1, it doesn't really matter. I just want to trigger samples. I've loaded some all sorts of sound effects. Just all sorts of funky effects. So what you can do with this thing, I've really quickly built myself a synthesis platform that can be used either to record a track, to record a track, or to just sound design, record different parts, cut them up, use them in tracks. It can be a track in itself or used in tracks. That's basically what I'm trying to say. Let's just now, for a few minutes, I will play with the knobs and I will show you how you can. I mean, it's pretty obvious, right? Let's go. Of course, you can then connect these eight mixer buttons, wheels, to something external, control it from there. I'm just going to do it with the mouse. It doesn't really matter. I just want to show you the basic idea. So as you see, even when it's completely random, unplanned, I've stuck this together really quickly. All I've done is take a noise oscillator, blah blah blah. Same. Uh, filter. One oscillator here. It might look insane with tons of knobs and tons of wires and tons of everything flying everywhere, but honestly it's really simple, and I think that already it sounds cool. And if you plan it a little bit, let's say instead of just stringing this really quickly together and filming a video, you would build something like this. Take your time just a little bit practicing what you want to do with it, maybe adding a little more things, maybe adding a delay line, maybe even opening a sequencer, letting some sequence run in the background. You can get huge and amazingly unique results just by doing this, as opposed to opening again and again the same synths, the same plugins, the same everything that you have, especially now working with digital environment, digital DSP. So, one guy told me, oh yeah, I've heard of this Screamer system, I've tried it, it sounds like shit, I've had an analog system and it sounds so much better. And, okay fine, so you have analog dope for us that sounds the world, but you cannot string together a million of these on a same budget, I love this system, I love this system, and I think it's a really great way to make sound. I hope you liked what you saw here, and maybe you can kind of take these ideas and use them in your own productions. I'm going to show you in the next segments of this video some other things that I've built in the past that are a little bit more elaborate than this, a little bit more planned out, and take up a lot more screen detail, and can do basically a lot more than what you saw here. This is just a little taste. Thanks for having a look. See you soon. Hi, this is Faxi Nadu again. We're back to another segment of this video. Before, we've looked at the basic ideas, the building blocks of modular synthesis and what you can do with it, how you can implement different things in your tracks. I've shown you different sort of methods. How you can take a noise type of sweep, how you can get a random type of sample and hold type sound, different things like that, but we've kept it really simple. What I want you to see right now is the next step of this kind of work. This right here is a sound design platform of a track I'm working on for my next album. Probably going to be released sometime in 2013. This is going to be probably, the way I see it, the last track on the album, which will be sort of what you will see here, a live recording of this track. And it is basically just the modular system from Creamer. There's nothing else doing sound in this track. The Nord Modular is not taking part in this, so it's just this. And we have overall 12 channels. Sorry, I think more. 4, 8, 12, and then 2 more here. We have 14 channels overall. Going again to a reverb, compressor, and then sort of this is a psycho acoustic processor that kind of helps you to get a little bit of a fatter sound, cleaner, fatter sound. Basically plays a little bit with harmonic distortion and the acoustics of your overall sound. I like to use it on such big modular patches because it kind of gets you more of a coherent type of sound. So let's get right down to the details. It's going to be a little bit hard, and I'm not even going to try to explain everything that is going on here. If you see me scrolling down, this is absolutely insane. I couldn't remake it even if I wanted to, because something else will turn up, not exactly the same type of thing. It uses not only the stock Creamer modules, which are all the green, brown, and blue modules, but also the white modules that come from, this is an add-on pack for this modular system developed by Asaf Dar from Adern. I think these filters are, to me, the most musical and the best digital filters I've heard to date. Superb job by Adern in making these, and I'm a big fan of this company. Other than the filters that you see here, they have developed a number of distortions and different type of drive units as well as displacers, granular units, and things like that. So some of the stuff that they have made is really kind of simple ABCs of synthesis, and some of the other stuff is more unique. Overall, they provide a big boost to this modular system. So this is pretty much what you can do if you take the modular synthesis live approach. I'm going to let you hear the individual channels without explaining too much, because even though I built this, I don't think I could explain it to myself without getting really confused and taking about 2 hours just to explain it. So what I have here is basically sets of channels. The first set is sort of, I don't know, what do you call this channel? Noise, psychedelic type of droning sound. The key, I think, to everything you do in modular synthesis is to get really good variation and modulation. If you let something noodle on and on for 5 minutes, it better have changes, it better be musical, and it better sound good, you know, because you don't want someone to, okay, fine, you make something cool, it's a noodle, but it's not changing, it's got no variation. Even the slightest variation, sometimes you will see knobs that you think are on their original position, but I've taken them just like right here. This is not on the lowest possible setting. You can see it's one tick above nothing, just to get a tiny bit of LFO variation, you know, and my LFOs are always really slow, but there's always movement going on. No movement, no track, sounds like shit. Okay, so this is sound number 1. Sound number 2 almost sounds like a lead. You can see it changing by itself. There's modulation going on the ADSR. Third sound. Fourth sound. Kind of a siren slash pad slash scary doomsday type of sound. So I guess you could say that these 4 channels, if you want to call them pads and leads, go ahead, for lack of a better word. Second set. Noises, they have been built like you've seen in the first segment of the video, but using just a little bit more of chaining of filters, but the end result is similar. Maybe a little bit more processed, but similar. Second noise channel. Now these noises, you may say they sound to your ears, especially through this Samsung, you know, microphone. They might sound similar, but it's in the details, you know. Little changes, little bit different, and when you start to mix them, again, like we've seen in the first segment, the key is the way they interact between each other. Third channel from this set of 4. Again, a noise, a little bit more resonating, a little bit more of a whistle to it. Fourth one. Same kind of whistle as number 3, but mellower. So, leads and pads, noises. Here we got drums. I want to stop a little bit and talk about this hi-hat channel. As you can see, let's go to the very beginning of it. This is the sequencer channel, the sequencer module that you've seen before. It's basically running 16 steps. It's the second one here. It says snare because that's just what it said, but I've connected it to my hi-hat sound. This is just text, you know, I can change it, I can write whatever I want here. So it's basically hits on every 16th step. But you notice that these hits are different. I'll let you hear it for a minute. Listen pretty carefully. It's changing all the time. Some hits are longer, some hits are shorter, and this is achieved by, if you go down here, this is the hi-hat source itself. This is the oscillator, that the basic timbre of the sound. goes into a VCA module, as you would expect, modulated by an envelope. But as you can see, this is called an AD envelope, attack decay, simple stuff. But with mod. Mod means that you can modulate as if you would do it with the mouse or with a knob, the decay length, and the decay length is modulated by an LFO, which is set to random kind of sample and hold, 2.5 hertz. The LFO itself is modulated by another sample and hold LFO that is going on an external frequency from the track BPM. Sounds complicated. End result, why I've done this is to get that little groove, you know, whatever, changing just a little bit, always keeping on the groove. Sounds almost like a real drummer playing, you know, on the little cymbal, changing a little bit the timbre. I think this provides a much more lively type of sound to the hi-hats, especially if you're making a track with only 12 channels. It's really, really important. Again, I've said this before, the variation, that's the key for me. So this is the hi-hat channel. And then another type of, I guess you could say this would be, if this was a real kind of track, this would be the percussion channel. Really goes nicely with the hi-hats. Same type of idea. This is also kind of modulated variation. Again and again you'll hear me say the word variation together. Really nice, I think. So these two. Then the third channel from these this drum mixer. This is a really simple snare. Pop. It's this one. Pop. Pop. And this is just achieved using a sample oscillator, snare drum sound. Just like any oscillator here, you have parameters, everything, but you can load a sample inside, and then you have envelopes and all that shiz right in here, going into a low-pass filter. Simplest channel, I guess, in the mix, just the snare, just to get a groove, basic groove, to help this track, you know, get into its own little feel, get a groove going, like I said. Fourth one. Kind of like an open hi-hat sound. Again, this is achieved with a sample. Just an OH sound, originally I think either from an 808 or a 909 type of sound, maybe sampled from Rebirth. I'm not exactly sure where I got the original sample from, but loaded in here, sequenced it with the sequencer module, and there you go. So these are 12 channels, and I've had room for 2 more. Most importantly, kick drum channel. Really, really closed. It's a kick drum, but it's doing a part of sort of a kick bass. It's a really long kick drum, closed with the low cut filter and with a reverb on it, so it's got a big tail, and it's basically, I mean, it is a kick drum, but it's basically just a, as you can hear, and it provides just the big bottom low end of the track. And since I had room for 1 more channel, oh, it's not playing. Let's see why not. You can follow the knobs. This channel here, let's see. This is actually pretty cool to see why it's not playing. I think I actually might be missing the sample. This is why it's not playing. I'm sorry. I'm missing the sample right now. I have to go look for it later. Oh, no. It is playing. It's just very soft. I'm sorry. Okay, here we go. And good that it is, because I do want to talk about it a little. If it's playing, let's give it a little bit of attention. This is a sample that's originally, it's a spoken word sample saying, "Looking for you, son," something like that. And the sound that it is providing, shack, 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 that's what's coming out. It is achieved with the flexor, among others, right, filtering and everything, but with the flexor displacer module, which is a granular synthesis module, which slices the signal into 16 parts, and you can give each signal a different volume, and then you can modulate the way that they are played, either consecutively or with modulated by an LFO. So this LFO will tell it to slice it into 16 parts, then play this part, this, this, and it's all done on a step LFO, so it's random. Every time it's going to be different. So you've heard all the channels, and in a live situation you can connect all of these to knobs, to something like a Node Modular, which has use it as a MIDI controller, has loads of knobs, and you can just you can play this track straight as is off this Modular. You can play it live, and it won't sound half bad. It will sound good. But what I have done, I wanted to show you another step, is to control this, all these channels. Again, basic stuff. You can right click here on each knob, and you can assign knobs, MIDI CCs to each knob. So I've done that, and instead of controlling it by myself, I've got an old copy of Fruity Loops. I think it's Fruity Loops 5. I use it for tasks like I'm going to show you right now. It's not doing anything other than sending MIDI CCs. Each and every one of these is a MIDI control message being sent to one of the knobs in the scope platform, in the modular that we have created. And it is basically just telling the mixer buttons to fade in, fade out, to play or not to play. It's not even it's not sequencing anything. It's not telling even when to start or stop. Everything right now, if you pull up the buttons, it's running. You know, it's not waiting for anything. If you pull up the fader, right now in this modular, all the channels are playing. Okay, but I'm going to turn up and turn down the faders through Fruity Loops. I don't want you to hear the whole thing because the track came out to 12.5 minutes. But if you play in the middle, I take down the overall volume just a little bit. Let's play. Let's just give the kick drum. And you can basically build a track. I do actually have, I'm sorry, let me take down the volume. I do actually have a finished product of this track. This one has already been recorded, what you've seen here. Right now, you've seen me a little bit dodgy playing with Fruity Loops and playing the track because, you know, it's kind of old. It's backed up on my hard drive. But if I go to my tracks, I've recorded it just as is. I've opened this. I press play here. I open up Logic. I let it record the track itself. And if we go here, Timeline Tracker is the name of the track. Recorded. Live. 12 minutes, 20 seconds. When I tell people that this track is just a modular system running, really, really hard for them to believe. But as you can see, it's the truth. I can prove it. Thanks for having a listen. Now go get yourself a modular system. Start having fun. See you later.